Lawmakers are renewing calls for the Federal Aviation Administration to tighten regulations for helicopters around the city. This comes after a pilot and family of 5 visiting from Spain were killed when their sightseeing flight crashed into the Hudson River earlier this month. Last week, the City Council passed the Helicopter Oversight Act, requiring non-essential helicopter flights to upgrade aircraft to be safer, quieter, and more eco-friendly. The bill also calls for better enforcement of the city's airspace. And now there is a push at the federal level to develop stricter regulations for non-essential helicopters. Joining me now to talk about this is Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. We have a closer look at this issue and more. So thanks for coming on the Rush Hour. And let's start with the helicopter issue. What do you want to see changed when it comes to making helicopter flights in the city more safe?
Well, ideally, I would like to see a ban on helicopter tourism above residential communities in municipalities of 5 million or more. And that would be exclusively to New York City. And the reason why is because so many of my constituents on Staten Island in particular have been experiencing helicopters at a real frequency that has been very disturbing. 10 to 15 helicopters sometimes in a single afternoon, and they're also flying very low, making a lot of noise, and it's very disturbing. And particularly after the deadly accidents we have seen, not just on the Hudson River, but in Washington, D.C. People would like to see more regulation. And it's, I think, a public safety issue when they're flying at such low altitudes above densely populated residential communities like the ones that I represent. And so ideally, we would like to see a ban over those communities. If not, the FAA has to, at minimum, put in restrictions for hours, for frequency, and for altitude, and make sure that these helicopters are being held accountable when they're veering off of their flight path, which is exactly what's happening. On Staten Island, it's supposed to be going over the Staten Island Expressway, and instead, they're going over residential communities, and that should not be.
If that should not be, and they're violating current rules, would it just be a matter of enforcement, or do you want to see actual changes to the current regulations?
Well, I think they're taking advantage of certain loopholes, and I think that's what needs to be reviewed by the FAA. And I've met with Secretary Duffy about this. We've spoken with the FAA about it, and we're very hopeful that they will intervene. And they see this as a serious issue.
Let's move on to President Trump marking his 100 days since returning to office. There's a new Marist poll, and it shows that more Americans are giving him an F than any other grade for his first 100 days. His overall approval rating down to 42%. That's the lowest 100-day approval rating in 80 years for a president. What should he be doing differently?
Look, I think right now, obviously, it's only been a couple of months, but in those couple of months, see what he has done, particularly for New York. He has secured our border. He has stopped the flow of illegal immigrants and criminals that have come to our city, wreaking havoc. We're no longer, for the most part, we're starting to see these close, these migrant shelters that were costing the taxpayers billions of dollars. And the illegal immigrants who are committing crimes, gang members, drug traffickers, sex offenders, even murderers, are being deported off the streets of New York City. We don't hear about all that chaos like we did at the last year under Joe Biden. It's because President Trump has taken action to deport those individuals who have committed those crimes. Very important. Congestion pricing, another big issue for New York City. He did the right thing by pulling the authorization for congestion pricing. We'd like the governor to follow the law now and comply, but we're ready to go to court, and we will go to court to make sure that we stop this program, which is a cash grab on hardworking New Yorkers like the ones I represent in Staten Island and Brooklyn. Also, we've seen the prices of gas, of oil, of eggs, mortgage rates all come down. And it's only been a couple of months. We have to give it time, and I think people will see that he's doing a great job. I think part of the reason for your numbers, by the way, first of all, I don't know who they're polling, but I will say that
Marist.
a lot of it has to, well, I don't know who they're talking to,
Okay.
though, right? And if it's actually proportional to the voter registration. But what I will say is the Democrats have been out there fear mongering, threatening, saying that Republicans want to cut, which is not true. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. They will see that that's not going to happen. President Trump has made very clear that he's going to preserve those programs, and we're about to deliver serious tax cuts for our working and middle class and our senior citizens. And I believe we're going to get an increase in the SALT deduction, which will benefit New Yorkers, and all of that will see an improvement in those ratings.
Let me jump in. You put a lot on the table right there. I just want to go through a few of the things. Talking about the tariffs, you said that prices are starting to come down. What actually is really sharply down is the stock market, off 8% since he took office. And that's the worst since any president has taken office in their first 100 days since Gerald Ford during the oil crisis in the 70s. What do you say to voters who are worried about making ends meet when they're looking at their investments and their 401ks continuing to go down?
First of all, for the majority of President Biden's presidency, it was at 35,000. Right now, it's hovering around 40,000. Again, this is temporary. Look, there's a change in administration, so the market is reacting because they want certainty. And yes, I do believe, and I've said that I believe that across the board tariffs was problematic, that it should have been done more strategically in going after those countries that are the worst offenders, treating the American economy bad. For example, look, India, great ally, but we are their largest export market. They charge 110% tariff on our vehicles. Hopefully, it's going to be the first trade deal that emerges. We have 75 countries that are coming to the table to make a deal to treat American economy much better. We will see barriers to entry being reduced. And I believe that we'll see good things for our economy. We've already seen $5 trillion.
We need to
in
leave it at
private,
that,
foreign,
Congresswoman
and domestic
Malliotakis.
economy.
I really would love to continue the conversation with you. So, standing invite, I'd love you to have you back. And just want to quickly point out that in Biden's first 100 days, the market was up 10%. But we will continue this conversation.
And then it went down to 35,000, though.
Congresswoman Malliotakis, appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.